Because a lot of smaller businesses tend to run as a lifestyle business, the business grows to a certain size where it supports their lifestyle. They don't really have an exit planned. So, having been in the merger acquisition world for most of my life, I look at it from when you're trying to sell this to a buyer.
Right.
What are you offering the buyer? And, the typical entrepreneur will say, well, I've got this great business. And I said, well, let's, flip it around. Now, what are you offering me? And from a buyer's perspective, there's not a whole lot there. And they can't see it because they're in.
Right.
And I'm like, so, a couple of things like, well, what's your strategy? And they don't really have a strategy. And then, well, how good's your management team? They say, well, they're great. And I'm like, well, who makes all the decisions? And when you strip it down, they make all the decisions.
Right.
And so I'm like, so you don't have a management team, you don't have a strategy. Basically, you have a job.
Right. And you are the company, so
right. And
once you sell it, the company's gone.
Well, you can't sell it.
Right.
Nobody buys a job.
Right.
So you don't have an exit. And they don't always believe that until, so they hire you as a banker to sell it, and then the market tells them nobody's interested, and they get very upset.
Yeah.
And they get very frustrated, but you're like, look, that's why, this getting ready for sale that we talked about earlier, a lot of people say, well, how long does that take? 3 months, 6 months? I'm like, probably 5 years.
Yeah.
And they freak out.
So what kind of moves can you make at that point over that 5-year period to make it more valuable for sale?
Well, I think you have to start with, you have to develop, if you look at the literature, where are you going? What is your strategy? What is your, BHAG, the big, hairy, audacious goal you're trying to get to in 10 years?
Right.
And what's getting you there? Do you truly have a management team that can function without you? One of the things I say is, if you cannot leave an organization, then you cannot sell it and walk away.
Right.
The first thing you have to do is make yourself redundant.
Yeah, that's the hardest thing to do.
And so you should hire a management team so you can become redundant. The ultimate test is, can you walk away for 3 months and go have a holiday,
right,
and the business operates perfectly without you? Then you can sell it and say, I'll take the money and walk away because the buyer doesn't need you.
Yeah.
If you can't walk away, the buyer's going to say, well, you can't go. I want you to stay. And that's not what most sellers want. So you've got to develop a management team. And then, you have to teach people, how does the company, one of my questions to people amongst many is, how does the company make money?
Uh-huh.
At a very simplistic level, if I ask every employee, do you understand how this company makes money? And the example I always use is Herb Keller at Southwest. His answer was wheels up.
Okay.
If the wheels are not up, we're not making money.
Right.
If the plane's sitting on the ground, we're losing money. So
right,
wheels up. Well, everybody can understand that.
Yeah.
So now you can turn to everybody and say, well, what do you do to make wheels up? How fast you turn it, how fast you load it, how fast everything comes to wheels up.
Cost, everything, yeah.
Right. So once everybody understands that, and then they understand what they're doing to do it, then you can start to align everything, and people start to understand everything that's leading to profit and money.
So,
and you can reward them that way. And then they start to understand if there are issues that come up that stop that happening,
yeah,
they can start to think about how to fix it, rather than they're just a cog in a big machine they don't understand a part about.